equipment to guarantee your vehicle is repaired or serviced properly and in a timely fashion. Mac and his team pride themselves in commitment to the local community and providing value-driven service in an inviting and friendly environment. Go see Mac at Haviland Express Loop of Kernersville for all of your automotive maintenance needs. Barber Shop Talk, gentlemen. Major League Baseball. I want to talk a little Major League Baseball here.
All right. Way to go, Des. My son Lucas will be very happy. Well, when are you going to start talking some baseball?
Well, he might not be happy with how this segment goes.
Then he said, you guys cut me off when I was supposed to get my segment last week.
Hey, Lucas, thanks for listening to the rundown, buddy. No, I wanted to put this in. I wanted to put it in early because I've been finding myself getting into random arguments, of course, on Facebook regarding certain sports things. And one of the things that keeps popping up is this whole Major League Baseball is not in decline type thing. I'm on the level of, it's not that I hate Major League Baseball, I'm just not a big fan of it at this point in my life. I was as a kid, followed the Braves in the 90s, Sid Bream coming around third base, beat Pirates, all that stuff. I watched all that stuff and loved the Braves, but I don't really have a team to root for, I guess, so I'm not really into Major League Baseball. And the conversation has been around, them being just as popular as the NBA or the NFL. But they have two major stars that are still free agents right now. Manny Machado, who was playing with the Dodgers, is that correct?
Yep.
And Bryce Harper, who was with the Nats.
Yep.
They're both still unsigned in training camp or whatever you call it in baseball. Is it training camp?
Spring training.
It starts in like a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Next week.
I was just trying to think of a situation in NFL or the NBA where this is the equivalent of like Kevin Durant still being a free agent in like October, like right before the season begins, like before they go to camps or whatever, and he's still not signed. So how big of a deal is it? Is it a warning sign for Major League Baseball that these two guys are not signed yet? And I'm going to let John start off because he is our baseball aficionado there.
Yes, he is.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's a warning sign. I mean, look at it just like a trade deadline. These two guys will be signed before spring training, if not before, like on the day of or the day after, and that will give MLB even more publicity and big stories and all that kind of stuff. They will be signed. I mean, they're visiting teams.
Are they going to do what they're asking for?
Well,
because Bryce Harper's asking. He was asking for $400
million. He's been visiting the San Francisco Giants. He saw the Padres last week, and if the whole Padre talk is Machado and Bryce Harper going to the Padres, which they have enough money to cover that.
Oh wow, both.
I don't think he's going to get 400. Here's my two scenarios on him. I think the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have not said a word in the past 4 or 5 weeks about any free agents, they're waiting for Bryce to call them or figure out, all these other offers, and he will be a Dodger. If he's not a Dodger, he'll stay with the Nationals. Machado, he's that's a whole nother story. He goes back and forth with, his personality's a little off. He doesn't have a lot of fans. He's a hell of a player, but I don't see him right now. He's got $175 million on the table. I think he's looking for 250.
Jeez.
I think he's going to go back to that 175 and probably sign with the Chicago White Sox.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I agree that I don't think he's going to get the money or neither one of these guys are going to get that big money like Johnny said.
Now, let me interrupt. Now, okay. Bryce Harper will get probably 350 million, not 400.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get 300. I don't think either one is going to get what they want. I don't think Bryce is going to get 350 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this whole situation has just gotten complicated because baseball has changed. Yeah, they don't necessarily have the big old salary cap, like the other two main sports do, NBA and NFL, but it still gets complicated. Well, I didn't mean that. Popular sports in America, let's put it that way. And it gets a little complicated because I think part of the holdup involves that recent collective bargaining agreement that just happened in 2017, which it established a more punitive penalties for teams that exceed the Major League Baseball's luxury tax threshold, which right now is sitting at $206 million. And everything that these guys want is way up there. So you have 3 teams that normally will go above and deal with the luxury tax. And that's the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Red Sox. Yep. And right now, I think it's coming down to money. And I think these guys are going to find themselves, yes, paid higher than everyone else, But I don't think they're going to be at that $400, $350 million mark.
You just hit it right on the schnoz, to be honest with you. Those three teams, the Yankees are all set. Red Sox don't need anything more. The Dodgers need something. Okay, they have the money. They're not going to pay him the 400. You're exactly right. He wants 400, but he's going to get 350 probably for like 8 years, 7 or 8 years. He's only 26 years old, so he's going to get the money, but he's just not going to be a $400 million man.
So, and like you said, they're young. I mean, these guys are 26 years old, 26, 28 years old.
I'd much rather give that kind of contract to somebody that's young than someone that's in their
Absolutely.
Like
30s.
Pujols.
Yeah.
Pujols got a 10-year, $240 million contract at age 32.
No more 10-year contracts. I think that's kind of the holdup right now.
Yeah. So I'm looking through the most lucrative contracts in baseball history. It's crazy we're even talking $400 million because the top one is Juan Carlos Stanton at $325 million, and that contract runs through 2027. So he's still got like another 9 years on that deal from the extension he signed. The number 2 and number 3 largest deals in baseball history both belong to Alex Rodriguez. This dude made $500 million playing baseball. $275 on the last extension. $252 on the first extension.
2 of those contracts. Can you imagine?
Just one dude. Miguel Cabrera was number 4, $248. Albert Pujols, $240 at number 5. And Tyler Robinson Cano.
And let's mention all guaranteed.
All guaranteed money.
Every penny of it.
So, and I'm looking through because also with some of these guys, they didn't finish out these contracts because of, I guess, injury or they retired. So like A-Rod, of course, Albert Pujols, who he's still playing, right?
Yeah,
he's nowhere near where he was before because of injuries, but he's still signed for another 2 years, and he's still owed like another $80 million or something like that over 2 seasons.
Like that,
and then you got like Robinson Cano. He signed at age 31, 10 years, $240 million. It does not make sense to sign a 10-year deal like this to a 31, 32-year-old, right? Yeah. So that maybe they're pulling back from that a little bit. How old is Bryce Harper?
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a great age to sign someone to another. Even a 10-year contract would, but an 8 is closer to where probably these teams want to be with them.
Then you get stuff like Prince Fielder. He's got the 6th highest contract at $214 million, but it was supposed to run until 2020.
Yep.
He was an all-star both of his seasons in Detroit. Then injuries, and neck injuries forced him to retire in 2016.
Yeah.
So he still has 4 years left on that deal where they're still paying him. Is that right? How does that work if he has to retire?
It's insured, I guess. If he retired, I believe because of injury, that money is still going to be owed to him.
Gosh,
but these big contracts are insured, for these teams as well.
That's why these are mega deals.
Oh, they're
crazy.
Well, now we're talking about that. Now the NBA contracts are getting
they're
just
there
like that.
Yeah, they're starting to jump up to that. I mean, Mike Conley has a $168 million deal somehow. How did Mike Conley get
He was the first guy.
He was the very first one.
Yeah, and I remember when that name came out, we were like, what? Mike Conley? Why does he have so much? But my original question, do you think Major League Baseball has been surpassed by the NFL or NBA in terms of being I don't know if I can say America's pastime. Clearly,
are you
NFL
asking?
Is the favorite sport.
Is it more? Is it being covered more? Throughout.
I don't know
year?
exactly what I'm asking, to be honest. Cause it's like,
it is. It's a tough question.
Because one hand, I look at it like Major League Baseball to me has the same problem that NASCAR does, where they're having trouble attracting a younger audience, like bringing younger people into it and growing with it. It feels like the Major League Baseball audience is an audience that has been there for 15, 20, 30, 40 years and has just, that's their thing. But it's hard to get kids. It's easier to pick up a basketball and go play basketball by yourself than it is to go play baseball by yourself. You kind of need some friends, you kind of need a place to play, you need equipment, you need all these things. So I'm curious as to how you view Major League Baseball now. Now, John is a Major League Baseball big fan. Right? I mean, he's a huge fan.
And when I hear America's pastime, okay, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I grew up, I'm still a baseball fanatic, but from the time I was probably 3, I just played it all the time. And like you said, going to the playground, stuff like that. But when I think America's pastime, I'm thinking summertime, know, and it's just, baseball is the summer game, it really is. And, you're talking from really, it starts to kick in May, June, all the way until October, of course, for the playoffs. I think, I hear what you're saying about the NFL and NBA surpassing them, but it's because of the coverage the NFL and NBA are getting. Now,
Marketing.
a lot of their coverage is negative coverage, though, if you really think about it. I'm going to say half of the coverage for the NBA and half for the NFL is a lot of negative coverage. I mean, people getting in trouble, this and that, and then the trade, all these trade rumors, obviously, and they'll jump on that for a month and nothing happens, as we just saw. Now, baseball, when the whole steroid thing was going on, that was the talk every day, 365 days. The media love negative stuff. And the NFL and the NBA have a lot of negative stuff, but don't get me wrong. The NBA, I think, they're genius behind their marketing because
Oh yeah,
I listen.
The NBA has figured out, I think, better than any other major sport, how to connect to people digitally and to get stuff out fast. I mean, just the past 2 weeks, we just had a Super Bowl, and it felt like biggest stories were Anthony Davis might be traded.
Yep.
LeBron James is finally playing for the first time in a month. Boogie Cousins is playing for Golden State. And
Super Bowl week, and you mentioned it this week on the drive. The NBA had the story.
They were the top
and
story.
It wasn't even a story because it never happened.
Nothing happened.
And the NBA knows how to do it.
LeBron James in particular knows how to manipulate the media to do what he wants. This whole talk about him intentionally picking certain guys for his all-star team because they're all going to be free agents or whatever, that's a bunch of baloney to me. If you look at the guys he picked, they're the best players. I mean, he just wants to win that game. Like an exhibition game in February is not going to change anyone's mind in July of where they're going to sign in the NBA. So Kyrie playing on LeBron's all-star team in February in Charlotte he's not even going to remember that in July when he's having to decide if he wants to leave the Celtics or not. Same for Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard and Klay Thompson and all these other guys that LeBron ended up picking. It all just started because he picked KD first. He picked KD first. Giannis picked Steph first, which I thought would happen. So he needed a point guard. He picked Kyrie. He picked Kyrie over Kemba Walker. I mean,
Des, are these guys just playing with the media?
Yes, I think they are.
Every one of them. Individually,
in the NBA, I think they are.
In the NBA.
Yeah, I think they really are. They're
Oh, yeah.
They
NBA
just
definitely
they
is. Your
throw
buddy
it.
Kevin Durant just started back up again.
He did.
But he's asking, you know what? But I kind of liked what he said last night. I just want to play basketball. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's about the only sentence that I like.
See, I can't excuse that, Kevin Durant, because you knew what you were stepping into when you signed with the Golden State Warriors. Like
so they have to ask, are you going to New York?
They don't have to.
Halfway through the season when he's on a championship run, that would just frustrate the hell out of me.
I mean, he's been signing one-year deals ever since he got to Golden State. He's left the door open, and nobody knows where he's going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sign a long-term deal. Notice nobody's asking LeBron where he's going because he signed a 4-year deal with the Lakers. But if you're going to keep signing one-year deals and keeping your options open,
those questions are fine.
People are going to ask about your options.
You anti-Durant guys.
I'm not.
I actually like Kevin Durant. I think he's. I
like him on the basketball court. I don't like it when he comes out and starts talking because he sounds
just
like
go
a
play
little
ball.
baby.
Yeah, go play ball, dude.
But listen, getting back to baseball, one of the things you said, Johnny, is it still America's pastime? I think it is, and it's a generational thing that is usually passed down in the families. Me growing up, I remember being a little kid, and one of the first things that my dad gave me to play with as far as being outside was a red baseball bat and a white baseball, and I still have pictures of him pitching it to me underhanded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that yes, it is. Now, there's another segment to that of why I think it's also America's pastime. Of all the things in this country, that people enjoy, baseball is one of them that began in the United States. And baseball has the history. Everybody knows who Babe Ruth is. And not to mention, whether you're a baseball fan, an NBA fan, an NFL fan, a soccer fan, whoever, baseball was a sport that initially broke the color barrier. And we all know exactly who Jackie Robinson is.
Absolutely.
I mean, regardless of the sport that you love, we know exactly who Jackie Robinson is.
Frank Robinson just passed away this week.
Yeah. Everybody knows who Babe Ruth is. And then, during the Civil War, you go back in history, Civil War, we were playing baseball even during the Civil War. So, I mean, to me, yes, when you look at the history, baseball is America's pastime. But the question is is baseball the most popular sport?
Yeah.
So I guess it's just
It's
a
a
question
different-
that you're asking,
Exactly.
which is a little bit different.
Well, I think we know that the NFL is the most popular sport in the country. Just looking at the ratings and the revenue they're bringing in, NBA's there too. I guess, and we'll revisit this again because we're going to try to put Major League Baseball into the conversation as we
The
go forward.
NFL or just football in general?
I think football in general, because
Yeah.
college football is extremely popular in the country. In some areas, it's more popular than the NFL.
Yeah,
It's
take
down
Alabama.
south. Yeah,
And
So
tonight you got the AAL starting.
we're going to talk about that actually. This new football league that's going to be starting up tonight and tomorrow. Actually, we'll
led
talk
by
about
Bill
that.
Polian.
Yeah, so we'll get into that too. I'm up against it again, so let's take a quick break. NBA action. The Hornets are in action tonight on the Sports Hub. Lots of movement in the NBA, but the big deals we were waiting for did not go down. Did the Pelicans make a mistake by not moving Anthony Davis by the trade deadline? And is the team to watch going forward the Philadelphia 76ers? NBA action. We catch up next on the Rundown.
A special message.